You're listening to Up the Turnpike with hosts Mitch Anderson and Matt O'Leary.
Hello and welcome to another episode here on Up the Turnpike. I'm Matt O'Leary, joined by Mitch Anderson. Mitch, after we finished up yesterday, even after the Jonathan Drouin video we hopped back on to do, there's another signing, but figured we'd wait till this morning to talk about that. Simon Holmstrom signs his restricted free agency deal. It's a 2-year deal at $3.625 million.
Outstanding. I did. That's outstanding. It's sure enough. It's kind of like a not a prove it deal, but it's a what's the word I'm looking for? It's early in the morning, 8:30, and I don't have. Sorry,
bridge deal.
Yes, but it's more of like I'm waiting. I'm betting on myself. I know I'm gonna be better.
Gotcha.
And in a couple of years, I'm gonna be raking it in, assuming he still jumps in production as he did last year at 45 points in 75 games with 20 goals. You're looking at a 50-point player making $3.625 million on the cap. After the cap goes up a huge amount, that's an insanely beneficial deal for the Islanders.
Yes, and he would be 26 at the time of contract expiring because he just played his age 23 season. So it's 24, 25. He would turn 26 in May. So after the season. So he would still be an RFA after this deal expires then.
Exactly. So you still have under control. Obviously, no trade protection because you don't have to, or they don't. Anyone who's an RFA does not get trade protection. This is insanely beneficial for the Islanders. A bet on himself deal for Holmstrom, which I don't know why he needed to bet on himself. He's doing very, very well, but this is outstanding for the Islanders.
Yeah, it really is. He had played the same number of games as he did the year prior. So 75 games this year, 75 games last year in 23-24, 25 points, 15 goals. This year, 45 points. So an additional 20 points with another 5 goals, 20 goals, 25 assists. The assist number is coming way up. And ice time almost up to 17 minutes, 16:52.
Yeah, so like you can see his role in the team just improve, not maybe improving, but increasing, right? Getting more responsibilities, at least in terms of offensive ice time, and then having more production. So you're going, okay, well, if we keep giving you more and you keep doing more with it, what's the limit when we put you at 18 minutes this year?
I was gonna say, I think this, in my opinion, this has to lead to an increased role. I know we talked about yesterday, especially after the Jonathan Drouin signing, how there's a logjam of forwards. There are a ton of forwards right now, and they have some decisions to make. But even with the additions they've made at the forward spot, I don't know how Simon Holmstrom doesn't get a bump up on both ice time and like line mates. I don't see how he doesn't end up in a top 6 role.
Yeah, no, it's definitely top 6 for Simon Holmstrom. Is just who's going to be the center for him. I think we both agree that it's probably going to be Matthew Barzal, but who knows? He could work with either one of them, and that's going to be beneficial for him. You got a 20-goal scorer already who's only 24 years old, improving every year. And I know that Burns did, so that's someone that's a part of our patrons. So sign up to patreon.com/uptheturnpike. Kind of broke it down for Simon Holmstrom, going, he's put up a lot of this production with, I'm going to say, bad line mates. I'm not saying bad because they're bad players, but they're not as good as, let's say, Matthew Barzal or Bo Horvat. So he's doing this with not as productive line mates. So what's it going to be when he's playing with guys like Bo Horvat and Matthew Barzal all year long?
Yeah, they're more defensive-minded guys that he's playing with, right? Like you have JG Pajot or Maxim Siplikov, who hasn't really gotten to that point yet offensively. 35-point guy. Pajot, as we know, is kind of tops out around the 40-point guy. It's going to be interesting to see how they utilize him. As I said, I think I would put him in the top 6. I think with Barzal, honestly, and then I'd have Drouin with Horvat and Palmieri. That would be how I go about doing the lineup. But Yeah, obviously we'll see in September when we get to that point, because there's still work to be done in the forward group. Still some RFAs left.
Yeah, still some RFAs left, like you mentioned, Maxim Siplikov. But what this does is it gives them some cap flexibility, at least for now. Like, you still have, at least according to cap wages, $6 million in cap space. Maxim Siplikov is not going to chew up $6 million. You also still have to sign Emil Heineman. Not going to cost you a whole heck of a lot to sign Emil Heineman. So you're going to have a couple $1 million worth of cap space. And you still have Semyon Varlamov and Marcus Hogberg here on the roster, which neither of them will be because you signed David Rittich, or at least one of them won't be. I don't assume it'll be Varley. That's $2.7 million off the cap this year.
Yeah, that's
a lot of space.
He could be I guess he would be an LTIR candidate based on, what they did yesterday in signing Rittich.
I assume so, yeah. And so again, you're not up to the cap, so you don't need to create space, but you've got it if you need it. And at this point, I think it's less about creating space on the cap with David Rittich and more about just having a goalie you can use, because it doesn't seem like Semyon Varlamov's going to be good to go.
No, definitely doesn't seem that way. I wanted to get your take on this before we called it an episode. The Islanders signed also a crap ton of AHL deals, and I wanted to get your thoughts on if any of those stand out to you. So I'll pull them up here as we're talking about it. Matthew Highmore, Ethan Bear, Cole McWard to 1 year, 2-way deals. Islanders also signed Chris Terry, Max Dorrington, Cam Berg, Ross Mitten, Hunter Drew, as well as Luke Rowe to 1 year AHL contracts.
Chris Terry, outstanding AHL player, at least productively. Like, he's not really good defensively, but insanely productive offensively. Cam Berg, prospect. I assume they're talking about Cameron Berg and not just Cam Berg. I think that's two different players. But I would assume they're talking about the guy that they drafted, played at University of North Dakota last year. Good two-way center. I don't know anything about Cole McWard. It sounds like a made-up name.
That's an all-time create a player on NHL kind of name.
Yeah, Cole McWard. What are we talking about here? He's a 24-year-old defenseman. Played 6 games at the NHL level for Vancouver, so not much going for there in terms of the NHL. But whatever. Is he a right shot or left shot? He's a right shot defenseman. We need some righties, because our right shot in terms of just the pipeline after losing Aiden Fell is basically non-existent.
Yeah, they don't have anything really. That's an area of slight concern right now, is the right-handed shot depth.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the other right. Thomas Mahu is the other one playing for Providence this year, and as well as last year. Yeah, we don't have a whole heck of a lot of depth on the right-hand side. I think that's really it. Yeah, is Thomas Mahu right now. Because Grant Hutton also was not re-signed, or was not qualified.
He wasn't qualified and isn't going to be re-signed.
Yeah. So Cole McWard won the Calder Cup. So that's the trophy for the AHL with the Abbotsford Canucks. 26 points in 67 games. Pretty good stuff. Like, he's obviously a good defenseman, at least at the AHL level, which is what we freaking need.
I was going to say, the AHL team really can't get much worse. So hopefully this is just let's make this a legitimate, let's give us a shot here in the AHL.
Exactly. So that should be good for us. It seems that they really trying to form back up that core over or giving a little bit more quality over for Bridgeport or Hamilton or wherever the hell they're going to be playing next year. I assume it's still going to be Bridgeport, and then maybe the year after Hamilton, perhaps. Either way, they're adding some of that quality to make them at least competitive, because they can't win 15 games over the year. That's just not enough.
No, get closer to 500 maybe in year one. That's a fair ask.
Yeah, and then so you got those guys coming in, and whatever prospects end up falling down.
So we'll see if anything else comes through today, but just wanted to hop on here this morning and talk about the Simon Holmstrom contract. I think we both agree It's good value. We're high on Simon Holmstrom. Things are good there, and give you a quick overview on the bunch of depth signings that they made likely for the AHL at that point. So keep it locked into the channel, right, Mitch?
Yep, absolutely. Sign up today. Like, subscribe. It helps us big time to not only just for ourselves, but to grow the channel to reach more Islander fans.
Absolutely. I'm Matt O'Leary. He is Mitch Anderson, and we'll catch you next time.